Okay, we're out in an alfalfa field this afternoon, and this is a field that's been taken off first cutting, and so we're into second cut regrowth, and that's typically a time when we think about potato leafhopper. It's one of the other major pests of alfalfa. It is not a pest that overwinters here. The alfalfa leafhopper blows up from the south on storm fronts. So we've had a number of different storm fronts that have come through, and we know that potato leafhopper are in the area. We've had some scouts sweeping about monitoring for potato leafhopper. And the way you do that, you do have to have a sweep net. It's not one of those insects that you can just get down and take a look at the plant like alfalfa weevil. This one you've actually got to have a sweep net. So a sweep net, it's just a 15-inch diameter sweep net. Most of these sweep nets, again, it's made so you can replace the net if that wears out. So they last you for a considerable amount of time. So we're going to get two pieces of information. We're going to sweep for these alfalfas, and sweeping is basically, I'm going to take the net and do a pendulum swing from one side to the other. So this would be considered one sweep. When I come back, that would be two. And what we're going to do is take a 10 sweep sample. That constitutes one single sample. We'll then take a look at the net and we'll unfold it carefully, and we'll start looking for the potato leafhopper, which is a small green kind of little wedge-shaped insect that hops and moves pretty quickly. The nymphs tend to crawl. The adults will hop, and so we'll unfold the net carefully and monitor. So that'll be one piece of information. The second piece of information we'll collect will be the height of the alfalfa. You can see that on this particular sweep net, we've actually already marked off in inches. So that saves you don't have to be carrying a tape measure as well. So I'll typically take a height of alfalfa. Here we're looking at alfalfa probably about an average of 8 inches, something like that. We'll take several measurements. So we'll look at a 10 sweep sample. We'll count the number of potato leafhoppers in that 10 sweep sample, and then we'll compare it to the height of the alfalfa. If the number of leafhoppers in that 10 sweep sample is equal to or greater than the height of alfalfa, then we would consider a rescue treatment. So I'll go through and do a 10 sweep sample here, and then we'll take a look at the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then shake this down, and now we'll check first of all beginning around the rim of the sweep net. Sometimes that's where we'll see nymphs accumulated. I don't see any at this point. So now we'll begin to work down into the net. You'll provide a bunch of other insects will be in here. We've got some flies coming out as we open up this net. Working down in, you're going to pick up obviously some leaf material. Again, we got fly. There we see a leafhopper, that little green. This is a leafhopper. That's probably a nymph. It's kind of moving sideways, so it's not moving fast. So that would be one that we've got in this sample. I saw another one that hopped off that way too. You kind of have to be watching as you unfold this, so you kind of get trained for it. Your eyes kind of catch them. Here's another one, two. We had another one hop off early, so that's actually the third one. Here's another one. Again, that wedge-shaped green. There's another one crawled up beside it. That's nice, hops away. So 4, 5. Here we have one coming out. There it hopped away. 6. We've got another one down here in the bottom. That's 7. So that looks like about it if we empty out our net. So we had about 7 leafhoppers. And again, I'm going to empty the net, and I'm going to take a look at the height of alfalfa. And again, if I look at kind of that average height here, I'm close to that, between 7 and 8 inches here. I'll usually take an average, go at several different places. Here it's a little bit higher. We're probably closer to 9 or 10. Over here, again, we're probably close to 8 or 9. So we're probably averaging, again, somewhere maybe about that 8 inches in height. We had 7 leafhoppers that we caught, so that would be 7 leafhoppers. That's 10 sweeps is 1 sample. We had 7 leafhoppers average. Our alfalfa height is 8. We're below threshold. So far this one I'm not seeing as many leafhoppers, which is again a reason why you take multiple samples, because you could hit a really high area, but that might not be reflective of the field average. Here we've got some of the little clover worm. There's one of our leafhoppers that just hopped out. So in this particular 10 sweep sample, I only picked up 2 leafhoppers. So again, you know, averaging about 8. We only had 2 leafhoppers in this sample. So if we would combine it, we had a sample earlier where we had 7, and so now we only had 2 in this one. So we're averaging only about 4 in these last 4.5 per 10 sweep sample. So again, we're below threshold, but it's something that we keep an eye on, and again, it's another reason why we take multiple samples. So if I was doing the whole field, this is a fairly large field. It's I think about 37 acres. I would want to take at least 5 to 6 sweep samples, 10 sweep samples to get a good idea of what's really going on in this field. Do this then the same thing in at least 3 different areas of the field, and with potato leafhopper I want to make sure I'm more in kind of the middle of the field. I don't really worry about the edges too much. I'm going to be out in the middle. For every 25 acres I would like to see 5 different sweep samples, so that'd be 50 sweeps total, but at least 3 as a minimum. So that's the technique for sweeping for potato leafhopper, and again, it's something that we continue to monitor from second and especially second and third cutting of alfalfa, where they can be a fairly serious pest. If they build up in high enough numbers, they're a sucking pest. They stunt the alfalfa. That stunting can carry through into the next cutting and can affect the life of the stand. So again, it's something that we want to keep on top of and monitor. So that's how we do sampling for potato leafhopper. So one of the things that, a question that comes up is, what if we would be over that threshold level? What do we do? At that point, we would consider a rescue treatment. Rescue treatment typically involves the application of an insecticide. Many of the pyrethroids are pretty effective on taking care of this. You always have to read the label, make sure that you're within the pre-harvest interval. So if this was getting close to harvest, if this was alfalfa that was, for example, 20 inches tall, rather than put on an insecticide, I might consider an earlier cutting. But if it was, again, 8 to 10 inches and not close to a cutting, and I had 10, 12, 14 potato leafhoppers per 10 sweep sample, I would do a rescue treatment.